Hello everybody in Team Studio. So I wanted to record another video for this week. I feel like we got a lot happening. Obviously, we are still finalizing and trying to get all of our different groups together. I've gotten some feedback. It's been funny. I have assigned groups before, and I really for this class want students to kind of have some say in what group they work on, what projects, etc., because this is kind of our opportunity to do that. So we are, just in spirit of transparency, we are working on drastically modifying and changing Team Studio 2 for next fall. So a year from now, it'll be a different course than it is in its current incarnation. And in part, that was kind of based on some feedback from students and different things. We have some other elements we're wanting to do with the course as well that we're kind of adding to it. We're expanding on it. We're making quite a bit of different changes. But this class, we're pretty much keeping the same. And in part, this class serves as kind of a trial run. So it can be a little bit challenging. You know, anytime you're doing something that's kind of a test run or experiment, things may not go 100% smooth. In part, this class is really designed to give you some experience of some of those, team-based hiccups, so that way as you move on into more advanced classes like Team Studio 2 or the Game Design Firm, which is what it's moving into next fall, or even other projects professionally, you kind of have some of those experiences. I know that can be a little bit frustrating, a little bit challenging, and it feels mean to say the class is kind of designed that way, because certainly I didn't design the class for it to be frustrating, but I did design the class to kind of showcase and give you practical experience in working in this format. And there are some challenges in that. And I will say, though, once kind of this group stuff gets kind of sorted out, generally speaking, the groups do really well. The rest of the class goes really smooth. Everybody kind of starts getting on the same page. It is hard to work in a group. It is. It is very hard. It is very hard for students to work together. It is hard to find time to coordinate. It is hard to do all of those things. I want to say I acknowledge that. I empathize with you. I totally agree. Which is why we've made some modifications to our other classes. Originally this program had a lot more group work, but because of some of those difficulties, we tried to lessen it in where we could. But the other component, of course, being used to working in a group, getting used to that game development process, getting used to working with others, that's an important skill, and that's what this class is all about. So I understand, and I'm sorry for any hiccups, any difficulty, any rough patches that the first week and a half, even some of this week too, may be causing for your group. That being said, we are ready to jump in. If you are not already jumping in, we absolutely have to, because we only have a finite amount of time in this course. I want to explain a little bit about the midterm in some ways to kind of alleviate some stress that might be there. But our midterm evaluation point is pretty much designed as a check-in. So while the goal is to have a finished game done by week 4, week 5, and that's true, it's in part because we want to spend that time at that moment evaluating this project. We have 8 weeks total in the class, and we want to work on a project the majority of that time. The week 4 or 5 midterm area check-in is our opportunity to really evaluate this project and decide, do we continue or do we scrap it and start over? And that's not for me to decide. That's for you and your group to decide. So sometimes students come up with an idea in the beginning, and it does not really turn out the way they want it. And so that midterm evaluation is the idea, okay, we've got this far, now let's polish it and push it to be completely professional and look great for our portfolio, or decide now let's change direction and use the rest of the time to go on. So I posted in the Discord. I don't know if everybody's communicating in the Discord. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of chatter. I don't know if you guys have split off and done your own Discord servers, if you are using Slack or a different tool, Teams, etc., Zoom, whatever works to kind of coordinate your team. So I don't want to require that. I don't want to force you to utilize specific tools. But I don't know if everybody's seen all the different stuff I posted this week in the Discord. So in this class, of course, we have to work smarter, not harder. Another aspect of this class that I really want to push to everybody is looking at the tools that are out there. You know, we don't want to just make this game in Unity or just make this game in Unreal, because those are the engines we know. Are they the best fit for what we're making? Okay? Only you and your team can really decide that. Now, it can be tough learning a new game engine, but sometimes it might be better to spend 2 weeks learning something like RPG Maker to make the game you want to do versus try to create the entire thing from the ground up in an application that maybe, oops, wrong one, that might be the wrong platform. So I'm trying to, okay, I guess I already have this muted. I don't know what's going on. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, like, so, you know, again, I had a group of students that spent so much time trying to make their game in the wrong engine that they had nothing to show for it. I don't want that to happen to you ever, right? And so I want to show you guys some really cool tools and fun things. If you've had the 3D graphics class, I started last year utilizing this as a platform for my 3D graphics class. In fact, here are some different spaces and different things we've done. In fact, this is my 3D graphics class from last time. I haven't had a chance to throw together this new class in one area. But basically what I did is have everybody upload their midterm kind of room project into Spatial, and then created kind of this cool sort of like gallery that all the different spaces are in. So you can see all these different bubbles are actually links. That's great. Only problem with it is it's hard to link stuff in here. You can see I've accidentally moved this picture on the wall. That's great. Okay, but anyway, all these different balls are links to different 3D spaces that the students created in that class. So it's pretty cool. This platform is very easy to create a space for. It is gaining more and more game functionality. You can download the SDK for it to create your own game space inside of Unity. So if people do want to use Unity, this is kind of a great way to create a 3D area inside of Unity, but then have it online so anybody can access it and play it. And if you have access to a VR headset, even view it in VR. Some of the other tools that I showed inside of Discord that you may or may not be familiar with. So a few years ago, Adobe bought the company Mixamo and basically made it free. So they took one of the really cool, there was another cool program that this company had for creating characters. It is still available on Steam for free, called Fuse. So you can look on Steam and you can download the Steam version of Fuse, which is a character creator this company had. Adobe, when they purchased it, they took the part that cost more money, this part, and made it completely free. You don't even need you need an Adobe account, but you don't even need an active Adobe subscription to access and utilize this. You can basically animate characters. You can upload your own character, so you're not having to even use these characters. There are multiple different characters you can download and utilize, and any of the animations works with any of the characters. So you can pick one of these characters and download it for your game projects and even modify them. So it's very easy to modify the textures. So if you want to use like this character but want it to look a little bit more unique, you can even modify that character's texture into something else. And all of the animations are completely compatible. That one's new. I don't remember a weird mannequin character. So maybe they're adding new characters even. I don't remember seeing that one. But anyway, you can kind of modify the animations. If there's clipping, you can do things like modify the arm space to have less clipping. You can see I kind of pulled their arms out a little bit more. This character was clipping a little bit, and you can make those adjustments. This does auto-rig human characters. So it is made for pretty much human characters. The more non-human your character is, the more difficult this thing gets. So while it does have some examples like this thing of some really non-human characters, this one, for example, uploading non-human characters gets some funky results. So keep that in mind. It doesn't like long skirts or dresses. There are a few in here, but I have used this program quite a bit. And if you want it to work well, having a normal shaped human without kind of extreme things, extreme head might be fine, but also not having any skirts or long dresses works best. That doesn't mean it won't work. I've had it work, but it doesn't work the best. So again, you can modify this, you can find the different animations, and you can download them all from here. I do know that Unity has some packages and different things that make this very compatible. Unreal, this will work in Unreal as well. It does not work with the Unreal skeleton. So if you're trying to combine Mixamo animations with the Unreal animations, there are some good tutorials and paths to do that, but it does not play nicely out of the box. Okay, just as a heads up. All right. And again, any of the animations will work with any of the characters. So it doesn't matter what character you have or what animation. So these previews are not like limited. Like you can have whichever one you want. And you can also turn it into place, which works a little bit better with most game engines. All right, so pretty cool. So that's Mixamo. This is Ready Player Me. It is a pretty cool tool and resource. That's kind of a bad job. This is the AI texture tools. I was trying it out. Yeah, it doesn't know what the front and the back is or anything. So I did not use the UVW map very well with this. But one thing that's really cool about Ready Player Me Studio is you do have to sign up for like a developer. It's free. You can even say I don't really have a game, and then you can download. I've noticed on my phone I can download the PSD files, but I can't utilize the AI texture generation on my phone, only through the web. So this, I'm using the AI texture generator here to create the texture. Like I said, I would downloading the PSD file and going that route is probably going to be better. If you've never used Ready Player Me, it's a very cool system for creating your own avatars. It has multiple apps that it connects to, including Spatial, which is the one that I was showing you in the other tab. But there are lots of other games, VR, chat, very, very popular, animes for creating like your own VTuber. For YouTube. There are tons and tons of these different apps and different games that it connects to, and they are adding more pretty much every month. And so the idea, of course, from Ready Player Me is a unified avatar system that could be used across the multiple metaverses. I kind of hate the terminology a little bit. So kind of bring it with you. And it has some really neat information out there. If you're looking at like the psychology of metaverses and avatars. And so the idea of a unified avatar across all of these different spaces actually has some real merit in giving a unified experience across all of these platforms. So again, it mentally kind of ties all of these different games and all of these different experiences together in a very real way for the player. And it's fun. You can basically create an avatar for any of these different worlds. I have some of the different experiences I have tons of avatars for. Others I have less. You know, some are going to be crazier and more different than others and whatnot. So you can see I've created a bunch of different avatars. You know, some really cool cyberpunk ones, some pretty normal, run-of-the-mill ones that are a little less exciting. All kinds of fun stuff. So in each of these different worlds, you can create and modify your avatar. And there is some different outfits and different pieces you can unlock in different ways. So you can kind of see I have like a whole different set of different avatars and experiment with different ones all the time. So it can be a lot of fun. I've even made like this avatar, I downloaded and then modified. So if you got to see in Spatial, I have kind of a more orc looking avatar that I downloaded this guy from and then modified because I wanted you know, that look. All right, so this can be a fun one. Ready Player Me basically gets their revenue through their partnerships, so it is completely free. You can create characters in Ready Player Me and download the 3D files of them. So if I wanted to download this file, I can simply download Avatar GLB file straight from the creator. So you can use this to create assets for your games, and you're welcome to do it. You know, again, it's a really cool system. They have that sort of stylized Fortnite kind of look. It's not super extreme, but you can even bring this, I've even brought this into something like ZBrush and modified these avatars. If you're in their developer space, looks like it did it again, although I don't like it at all. So you can actually pick different outfits and download templates. So in PSD format, so I can take this, for example, into Photoshop and modify it. So if I wanted to start with, let's say, this model, but I wanted to change the texture to whatever I want, again, I can download the PSD template and modify this that easily. It's really cool. If you've never played with retexturing 3D assets, changing the texture can vastly modify the way a model looks. It is striking how much you can do with the same geometry with different textures. So if you haven't played with it, you can play with the AI texture generator inside a web browser or download the PSD and modify it yourself. Again, a really easy way to create some really cool assets for your games. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, a couple more tools. This is Blockade Labs. Blockade Labs is a skybox generator. So you can create a full skybox just by kind of adding a prompt. So let's see here. The one thing you can do is you can select a style. Some of these styles are locked behind paywalls, some a little bit less so. You know, you can kind of pick. So it looks like they keep adding stuff. I've been using this for less than a year, and in less than a year's time, they've added so many options. It's crazy how complicated and how different this has changed. So you can kind of play with it. They have tons of different styles. Again, some of them have little like things next to them where they are, you know, either in development or behind a paywall. I have never paid anything for this, and I've made lots of really cool skyboxes. So, you know, you can kind of play around in here a little bit. You know, you can see that one didn't like it. So you do CG, but that's it. You can get a lot of different looks based on the prompts. So, let's see, Cyberpunk. Let's see, Paris, France, 2099. Cyberpunk. Oh man, how do I spell Mulan? I have no idea how to spell Moulin Rouge. Somebody's going to watch this video and laugh. I'm sure that that's wrong, but I'm just going to click it and hit generate. So they give you at least 5, I think, to start out with for free that you can kind of play around with. Let's go ahead and let that cook. I'm going to go to another tab while it's doing its magic. So there are other tools. So Scenario.ai has a number of different generators that you can utilize. This tool has been touted and is advertising it as a tool for creating artwork for video games. So while you could use Midjourney or any of the other AI art generators, if you haven't used any of them, this is again a good one. This one is specifically designed for creating game assets and has different styles and stuff. So I don't have a custom one here. Here's kind of a sandbox, so you can see what other people kind of played with a little bit. You know, on the different signature ones. One I've played with this a little bit, but not a ton. One I play with quite a bit is Leonardo.ai. It's probably my favorite right now. By default, it has all the bells and whistles turned on, and so if you're creating something, you will need to kind of modify that a little bit. I have found that it defaults to burning through your credits like it ain't nobody's business. So let's keep that in mind. You get 150 tokens basically a day. So it looks like, yeah, it resets in 6 hours. That sounds like a lot until you see how much tokens everything kind of burns up. So you can see right now it'll tell you how much that this thing will kind of cost. Right here, 8. So if I turn on these different things, if I turn on some bells and whistles, it'll kind of modify that. So if I turn off stuff, you can see now I've got it down to 4. Alchemy is their hot fancy thing. So it looks like my trial expired. I don't care about it. I always turn it off anyway. If you have it turned on, if you're doing the trial, it will burn through tokens like nobody's business. Again, I turn on photoreal. Again, it's saying, hey, it's going to cost 24 tokens. Let's turn that all back off. I have had a lot of luck with it turned off. So as long as you're pretty good at creating the prompts, you don't really need it on. On top of that, you can also, again, change like the number of image it generates and different things. You can play around with your different settings. And really, if I'm only spending 4 tokens each generation with 150 tokens, that's going to give me quite a bit I can go through. So I like turning it all off because if you haven't done a lot of AI generative art, getting that prompt right takes a while. So you can see, if you've seen some of my other videos, these pictures might look a little familiar. I was trying to generate some textures. It does an okay thing. Some monster pictures I was doing. I've been trying to design, I was trying to design a Star Wars inspired kind of vest outfit thing, and you can, so this is the kind of generations it gave me. So if you're not a big fan of Star Wars, but if you are, you can see some of them are pretty good, and the style's all over the place because I told it concept art, and so a lot of times it gave me a ton of some picture ones, some drawing ones. Here again, so these were experiments using a data set, so you can actually create your own kind of setting. I'll have to figure out where it's at in here, but it allows you to upload a sampling of different pictures and create your own kind of generator. It's pretty neat. So there's some cool stuff. These are just, again, just tip of the iceberg. You know, there are so many really great tools and different things out there for you to experiment with. But if you haven't seen any of these, you can see like this one does have the long skirt. I said sometimes it has trouble. You can see her leg clipping through there. So there are ways, it'll take it, whether it looks good or not, hit and miss. So you can see like this guy's long skirt, he has trouble. See, it's clipping through again. But it totally rigs and makes everything for you, and you can't beat that. Hopefully these different tools are fun and exciting. Hopefully you like experimenting with them. There are more AI driven tools being developed every single basically day is how it feels. So I assume that soon this will be how most of the elements get generated in most games. So I know there's a lot of pushback, a lot of complaints from the artists out there right now about AI art and the ethics and stuff. I don't want to get into too much of that, although I'm happy to talk about it. The truth is, these tools are too accessible and too free, and so that means that they are going to be used in abundance. So I want you guys to kind of experiment and play with them. I will say, when it comes to using pre-made tools, like if you just go to like the Unity Marketplace, although it might be called something else. I'm thinking that's the Asset Store. I get the Unreal Marketplace and the Unity Asset Store mixed up in my head, but you can see, you can just come up here and there are tons of stuff right inside the Asset Store. If you've never viewed the Asset Store, I will tell you, if you start looking at the most popular, cheapest assets, you're going to start seeing things you've seen before. You know, even in that spatial example right here, if you go to the spatial homepage, the one game that comes up, not that one, not that one, not that one, this one, Punch Hero. The assets in this Punch Hero game are the same assets that I used in a Unity project a little over a year ago. Not all of them, but almost all of them. And some of them are in assets I've seen in other games. So, you know, the thing is, I would say if you're using a lot of these generated assets is modify them. Make them your own. The fact that there are tools that do this already for us makes it incredibly easy. If you have some experience or somebody has experience in your group with Photoshop, Photoshop has generative tools built in it now. Their Firefly tools are built in it. You can easily download, like I said here, I downloaded the one template. Here it is. And I can bring that sucker right into Adobe Photoshop. Here's the template in a PNG form. And there I am ready to modify it. All the different pieces, components, and elements, as well as even the distortion on the text if you wanted to actually add a logo to kind of show how the logo might distort along the surface geometry. So it is as simple as that, downloading the template and playing with it. Be quiet. So you can see here, you can view the wireframe. They have light and shadow. I have all kinds of cool stuff on here. Unfortunately, it looks like it did not download the generative texture that I had created in the browser, unfortunately. But that's okay. No big deal. Anyway. Take a look at this fun stuff, play around with it, you know, have fun with it, see what you come up with. Again, there are just so many neat tools. That's the big thing I really want to show everyone in this video, is there are so many tools, and every single day, every single week, every single month, more and more of these tools are being developed and are launching. Blockade Labs, I never even saw that. In January is the first time I used Blockade Labs Skybox Creator, and since then they have probably expanded it 6 times bigger than when it launched. Who knows what it's going to be by January this year. You know, in a year from now, these tools will be even easier, faster, and better. And they are not slowing down. So have fun, you know, experiment, see what's out there, learn, grow, work with your groups, reach out if there's any problems with your groups. I've talked to a few of you already, and I can't wait to see what you come up with this week.